Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's edition of the Maconi Setup Shop A-Fix Tutorials. This week we're looking at the Nashville Wannabe Superspeedway, so strap in and let's get to it. This run here I did using 4th and 5th gear, so I'm shifting into 4th gear going into both ends, and I feel like you're going to be doing that pretty much throughout the entire race. I'm shifting into 5th gear about halfway down the back straightaway before I get to the chip, just out of preference, but I'm shifting into 5th on the front straightaway around the start-finish line. As the tires get older, I think those spots can go a little farther. Um, the other thing, too, I think with the combination of dirty air and older tires, when the pace drops off, I think you're going to be able to leave it in 4th gear the entire time down the back straightaway. It might not, so you could still be shifting into 5th. But I think once the pace drops down far enough, I think you can get away with leaving it in 4th gear because the time that you get on the chip is about the time you're going to want to be letting off for the corner anyway. So that's kind of what I've observed from that. The other thing too, the second and third lanes, and I know this is going to change once there's more cars on the racetrack and there's heat and all this other stuff. But in every single session that I have done for this, the difference in speed and feel and grip and everything in the second and third lanes is like nothing compared to the bottom. Uh, so it is very important to make sure that you get down to this yellow line here. Okay. If you're off of it, you're gonna feel it. Okay, the wheel gets heavy. You're gonna be putting a lot more steering wheel into it, and you also have to wait on the gas. Passing is gonna be, I don't want to say difficult, because I do feel like as the track wears, the second and third lanes are going to be usable. But I would say at the beginning of the race especially, I think it's going to be a giant fight for the bottom. Um, really puts a premium on taking care of your tires. Okay, if you're not passing anybody, or if you're kind of in single file, it's the best time to try to protect your tires so that you have something for the end. But it also creates a lot of chaos, right? Because everybody's going to be fighting for the bottom. 3 and 4, I've mentioned this in previous videos that we've done for Nashville, but there's a bump right in the middle of 3 and 4 about where you're picking up the throttle, okay? If you are full throttle before that bump and you hit it, it's going to upset the car. Okay, now for some people it might upset it enough to where you can drive through it. That's fine. Others, you hit that bump, it can do one of two things. It could almost act like a left rear pops, or it's just going to shoot you up the racetrack when you bottom out over it. Okay, so for 3 and 4, what I like to do and what I recommend to everybody who watches these videos for help is you can start to roll into the gas before that bump, and then once you hit that bump, that's when you can get on it. Okay, I find that when you wait long enough to get over that bump, you can get off the corner pretty easily. But again, late in a run, the pace is going to slow down. Tires are not going to be as good. You might have to wait just a little bit longer to get full throttle, but not by much. These laps here, 7 and 8, these are demonstrating the top. Now, this isn't an exaggeration, okay? You see the speed difference, and you can see the inputs when I'm running the bottom. The very first time I went into the second lane, like in years past, the second and third lane have been pretty drivable, okay? This thing just pushes. You see how long I'm waiting on the gas. You see how much wheel I'm putting into it. It just simply doesn't want to turn. Now again, this is an offline solo test session that I'm doing with the weather for this week's event. But again, once you have cars on the track and the different weathers and everything, those second and third lanes are going to heat up and the tire's going to react. So when you're trying to run those, if you are running in those lanes, I like to pretend that the seam, like where you're trying to line up the left side tires, that seam is the yellow line. That's mentally what I try to think. Otherwise, it's one of those deals where if you don't have to run a second or third lane, don't. If you're tight or you're fighting handling issues, I would recommend doing whatever the heck you can to make sure you can stay on the bottom of the racetrack. Okay, if you're loose, just be easy with your right foot. If you're tight, back the corner up, okay, and just make sure that you can roll the center while holding that bottom line. The bottom line to me over the years has always been the fastest, and it's the best way to save tires because you're right on the line. Okay, um, it's a bonus when you come to some of these tracks where I shouldn't say it's a bonus. It's kind of frustrating, but it's easier when the fast lane is where you can save tires. Okay, it makes it a little easier. But again, as this race plays out, the second and third lanes are going to open up. It's just a matter of time, and you just have to be patient until those lanes open up. Okay, we'll go back to the in-car. The first couple laps here that we're going to show are going to be running the second and third lanes. Uh, for the most part, just like every other racetrack, I like to begin my corner as soon as I'm flush with the wall. Nashville is another place that you can do that. 3 and 4 down here after this purple sign on the wall that we just drove by, not the ally one. That's a good lifting point for those that like those visuals. But again, as the run goes on, and you got to factor in traffic, dirty air, tires, all that, these spots are going to back up. Okay, over the course of a 30-lap run, very similar to Rockingham in a sense, where your lifting points for both ends of the corners 30 laps in could be 5 car lengths back. Okay, that lap right there, again, you saw I didn't get off of 2 very well. I left it in 4th gear the entire time. I think that's a good indication that as the run goes on and the tires wear out, that you might be able to leave it in 4th gear as you go down the back straightaway. But I think the entirety of the run, I should say, I think you're going to be shifting into 5th gear going down the front straightaway, because once you're on the chip, you just lose way too much time down the front straightaway. It's like tense, even late into a run, okay? Coming around for the silent lap here, I'll let you guys watch, and we'll pick it back up on the other side. All right, guys. Couple things to point out real quick, especially on entry. It's pretty easy, in my opinion, for some people to miss the timing of the shifts here. Um, if you miss it too badly, it is possible you can blow engines. Obviously, we don't want that. I like Personally, I like to feel like I have that second in between getting on the brakes and downshifting. It's a really important feature because you need the engine to help slow you down. Okay. The other thing too is if you feel comfortable, or if you don't feel comfortable enough downshifting, you can leave it in 5th gear. I would recommend backing the corner up a little bit and just braking harder than you initially think. The only problem is, and on 1 and 2 is the worst. If you leave it in 5th gear because it's so bogged down, like you're running so slow in the corners, like 140-ish miles an hour, okay, you just get so bogged down that you don't really generate much of a run on the back straightaway. Where 3 and 4 I find is a lot easier. It's a straight entrance down the back straightaway, just very similar to any other mile and a half that we go to, or cookie cutter, whatever you want to call it. And it's the same technique. You're kind of just floating it down to the yellow line, using the engine to help slow you down. If you want to run 5th gear through 3 and 4, I find it's easier. You don't get as bogged down, okay? Um, but again, just the configuration of the track and everything. Coming to pit road again on old tires, I think once you get to that bump essentially, which is where you would be trying to pick the throttle up, I don't think you want to be getting in the gas at all. I kind of like once you let off for 3, that's it. Like if you're coming to pit road under green, you've hit your marks for turn 3, you get to the bottom, you're not getting on the gas. You're just slowing down pretty much the entire way. Okay, real quick, these are what my tires look like after this run that you guys just watched. Okay, um, so yeah, again, solo car, no dirty air, stuff like that. In a race, like that right front's gonna be cooking. Alright guys, that'll just about do it for this week's video. If you find that it was helpful, as always, please consider leaving a like. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything that you want me to go over or want some clarification on, or just things that you want to discuss, leave a comment down below. I check these throughout the week all the time. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you can see these videos every Monday when they're posted on the Maconi YouTube page. Alright guys, best of luck this week, and we'll see it on the track.